All right, looks like we're going to do some artwork this morning. We're switching gears away from artifacts. We're going to do some long rest camping illustration. So give me a second here to check my signal. We'll make sure we're coming through. I'll do my quick intro, and we'll catch you guys after the bounce if you're already familiar with the channel. Otherwise, if you are trapped here now in time-space with me and you are not familiar with the channel, allow me to entertain you with the origin story I have going here. 1 second. I get all my stuff set up here. My name is Phil Kearney. I create role-playing games. I illustrate them. I publish them online. And I am creating content for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. We'll be publishing on the DMsGuild. I have been a DM since 1987. I've been a freelance illustrator since 1999. I've been an Eberron enthusiast since 2004. And like I said, I've been creating content on the DMsGuild since 2018, but I have not created anything specifically for Eberron, nor have I published a unique adventure. I've worked on a number, obviously, but I've never actually published my own. So we're rectifying that. We're building an adventure in the Eberron campaign setting. So if you think this stuff is fun, I've finished up my posts so we can get to work here. Click up to this here. And so if you think today's cool, like, subscribe, hit the bell icon. Hey, new subscribers. Thanks a lot, guys. Like, subscribe, hit the bell icon for notifications when we are live in the future. We're on currently episode 453. Here's the entire... Where did my playlist go? Here's the entire playlist of all the things. Here's my Discord, Patreon if you want to support. Best way to support, check out my books on DMsGuild if you think any of them would add value to your D&D or D20 campaign in general. Consider picking them up. Purchase encourages similar behavior in the future. So, there we go. AMA, I'll be here for the next hour and 20 minutes, it looks like. Yeah, I'm going to set a timer here. It's 6:30 here in Seattle. So I'm just going to put in a little bit of work this morning and then go do my day job, and then I'll be back tonight and we'll work on some game design this evening. So this is long rest. Short and long rest. The opportunity to rest during the adventure is largely dictated by where the adventure begins, then duration of the adventure. Part 1 starts with characters arriving in the village Peace, located at the edge of the Carnwood, 20 miles south of the Manifest Zone within the forest. Characters can safely take short and long rests as needed while in the village, even using an abandoned farmhouse if they choose, and they can camp in the forest as they travel towards the Manifest Zone. Part 2 starts when the characters enter the Manifest Zone. While there, the characters can take short rests if they can hide their location, but the hostile environment, monsters, and frequency of patrol in the zone prevents taking a long rest without disruption unless they're able to secure and conceal their location for the entire duration. Otherwise, the characters can retreat to the forest or village in Part 1 as needed. Part 3 starts within the underground facility at the center of the Manifest Zone. The characters can take a short rest in the facility if they can conceal and secure their location for the duration, but the presence of monsters, the frequency of patrols, and the general activity within the facility prevents the characters from taking a long rest unless they retreat to an earlier part of the adventure. So there you go, just establishing baselines where the hostilities are at, where your opportunities are, and where your retreat points are at. I'm still working on the tents here. Pretty happy with the ground. I like how these guys are looking. And then we still have a watchman standing guard here that seems to think that something is going awry. So I'm going to need to adjust this accordingly. Let's increase the size here a little bit. I'm doing some I'm doing some cutty pasty work here for this character because I didn't like the angle of perspective. I like this angle a lot better. I think that feels better, but it still feels a little halved. So we're going to here. That feels good. All right, I'm going to conceal some stuff so we can better see what's going on. I want the ground to keep it based. What I have here are legs that are overriding the original pose, which is far too... It doesn't feel strong, so I redid the legs to create a stronger base for the character to stand at. So we're just going to do some artwork here. I'm just going to, scratch at this until I like it. And then we'll move on to the next piece. Hey, Rel, how you doing? Babu. What is going on, my guy? And he's gonna be here. Right on, man. Good eats. This is page. What are we working on? Page 7 here. This is page 4. Talking about plot hooks. The default deputized plot hook has you starting at the beginning of the village. Hired by Fort Bastion to investigate complaints of missing people and disturbances in the forest. But then we have these alternate plot hooks that we talked about before. The 12 is evil organization of global dominating archmage type folk that operate in the shadow. Aether Academy is a necromancy research university. The Church of the Silver Flame oppose possessions, demon activity, and curses. The Gatekeepers is a druidic sect that protects the world from extra-dimensional disasters. And then the plot hook for friends and family are people that live in the village that simply invite you a place to lay low, or a home to build, or a farm to tend if the team wants it. It's a great excuse to start generating a bastion for your characters if they're planning on spending time in Central and Eastern Karnath. Wandering encounters, prepared encounters, and optional encounters is the framework of randomization that happens inside of the adventure. So you have wandering encounters, which are timed based on what location you're in and the intensity of threat. Prepared encounters are like numbered locations on a map, mostly. Those are prepared encounters that when the character triggers them, here you go. And then there's optional encounters, which has an unnecessary gap here that I'm going to go through and do some spot editing on this. But yeah, that's a flaw. So let me go down here. Gap. This is the text layer here. Here, that's the text layer. But we can finish this piece, and then what I'll do, what I'm going to start doing, starting tonight and moving forward. Since we finished the artifact, the last page, the artifacts page, I'm going to go back through. We've done a lot of spot editing on all of these pages just to improve the flow of everything. So this is the first 7 pages of the adventure. So we're going to go through and we're going to clean up. We're going to swap out all the text on them to make sure that the formatting like this is consistent, and then drop them the most recent version of them here into Photoshop. I'll replace this text block and put in the current standing. We're going to go through the whole book. We're going to swap out all the text to make sure everything sits prettily. Take all the illustrations that we've already done and start dropping them into their positions where they're supposed to be. Find where the standouts are that don't have illustration for them, and then start focusing our activity there. Get this thing finished. So it's currently April. I think we could be done in maybe. Let's shoot for late July, and miss with August. It's a little later than I had originally wanted, but we'll get there. Getting there is the most important part. I've got so many other cool projects that we can do once we finish this one. It's I'm pretty excited, and I apparently drew on the wrong location. There we go. Martial Powers is coming along nicely. We just cleared 6th level in the 10 level mega dungeon. So the characters started at 3rd level, and they are crawling through the well, at this point they're getting past the unburied temple that they discovered, and we're pushing down a couple hundred feet below the surface, and they're running out of temple, and they're starting to find I wouldn't call it a natural environment. I'd say it's been a magically altered or radioactive environment, but it's less and less. It's less and less structure. It's more and more natural space. So, hey, Steve. So we're moving away from temple guardians and undead and mural depiction, and we're moving more into crumbled infrastructure and under city sort of stuff. So we're having a change of environment, which can also warrant a change in types of creatures that the team encounters. And since they just cleared a level, the way that the mega dungeon works is that you take all of your accumulated wealth and you take it back home with you. The metric that we currently have going is for I have the gold piece value of all the treasure that they found, and then I have a weight for like if it's like an onyx statue that, or like a platinum statue that's worth 1,500 gold pieces, might weigh like 30 pounds, for instance. A lot of the wealth that they're getting is gold filigree that's been poured into the grooves of mosaic paint of mosaics that have been carved into the walls of the temple, and then filled with gold and gems and whatever to make it fancy. So the team, during long rests, once they secure a region of the dungeon, they can take time to basically take a file and scrape off the gold and silver and platinum off the walls, and take daggers and pop the gems out of sockets in the wall. And through that means they have reason to stay near the dungeon or in the dungeon to be able to pick at these things. And since it's scrapings with the wall, it's not 50 gold pieces per pound, it's more like 25 gold pieces per pound. So as a result of that, over the past couple zones of the dungeon, the team has pulled a total of 70,000 gold worth of treasures, artifacts, artworks. At one point, they found this chamber where dead kobold worshippers, their bodies were converted into precious material and then thrown down a pit for sacrifice. So there was this necrotic sludge that's covered and filled with precious materials. So if they had to defeat an undead horde and a shadow dragon to be able to secure the area. But when they did, like the shadow dragon's lair is like, it's dripping with onyx and emerald veins in the walls, so like they have to scrape and carve all that out. So that's how they spend their downtime. And all they had of the 70,000 pounds, there was about 6,500 pounds of the 70,000 gold. There was about 6,500 pounds worth of material that they would have to extract from the dungeon to take back home to convert into experience points. And so we don't have to worry about how much gold can you carry at a time, that the team would go through, they'd secure a zone, and then once a zone is secured, we allow you to take a long rest in prior zones. And so as the team takes over more and more pieces of the dungeon, they can use their downtime to casually extract the wealth from the areas that they've already conquered. And then, so we don't have to worry about how much gold can they transport back home at a time. The game mechanic is, it'll take you D6 weeks for you to return, for you to leave the dungeon, go back to society, drop off the gold, get the experience points in exchange, and then come back to the dungeon to proceed. It's for every 1,000. It's D6 plus 1 per 1,000 pounds of material moved. So that's how long it takes for the team to go from the dungeon, drop off stuff, and come back. Every whatever that result is, that's how many dice I throw to determine if random wandering encounters from further down the dungeon that have been explored find their way to the surface. So if the team has decided to take the full horde, so it'll be D6 plus 6 weeks for them to extract, transport, and return from society with all that loot, gaining levels, and during that time they can also upgrade magic items and get new gear and blah blah blah. Plus, they level up. So it's running kind of like a traditional dungeon, like old school Beckme style dungeon, where you don't get any experience points for killing monsters and traps and stuff. Instead, you get it for how much gold you're extracting, which basically represents how effectively the team is, overcoming and conquering the dungeon. So we just gamified all that. So the team is currently mulling over. They've got 12,000 gold pieces worth of magical loot overall. Common magic items are worth 100. Uncommon are worth 400. Rare are worth 4,000 gold. So if they cash in all of the magical stuff that they got, and it's half those prices for like potions and other consumable items. So if they cash in all that stuff, they could instead swap it out for magic items that they prefer. And then they'll do, for each one that they want, they're going to do basically an acquisition check to see if they can get it. If not, then the acquisition will be there for them when they return to town at level 7. So they're basically putting in orders for magic items and then paying for those magic items with magic items they've obtained as a sort of like separate wealth track. So there's the raw gold value treasure stuff that they're cashing in for experience points. And they could cash in all these magic items at those rates, the 100, 400, 4,000 rate. But they can also melt down those magic items into Mizium and then reconstruct them to be more useful magic items that they want. And that takes a little bit of time. And it's an ability check to achieve it. And they have to sacrifice the magic items that they've gained currently to begin that process. Kind of like how in the Bastion system, we have, what do you want to build? If you have the plans for it, then you make the ability check. If the ability check fails, it creates a complication. Once the complication is resolved, you get the magic item. And so while we're doing this mega dungeon, instead of adding that level of depth of actually operating a Bastion, because the Bastion is designed to be highly interactive, while in this mega dungeon we're designing the gameplay experience to be isolated from things like Bastions in society. But we can still follow the same protocol process of putting in the item, making the check. If the check succeeds, congratulations, you get the thing. If it fails, it creates a complication that needs time to resolve. So instead of the team making an adventure out of resolving it, we just relegate it to the settlement that the team is dumping all their gold into to resolve that complication for them. And by the time they get back from the dungeon at level 7, that complication will be resolved and they can get their stuff. So that's the idea. That's the idea. I'm going to grab that and switch gears. Let's do it like this. So that's what's going on. That's how my weekend went. Also played Curse of Strahd. We're level 6 right now. I'm playing a spell point sorcerer that I've been developing on stream, and by God, that's been a hoot. A lot of fun. I love sorcerers. Sorcerers and artificers are my favorite classes to play. I like the versatility and the flavor that's packed into them. I think they're a lot of fun. Let's bring this tunic down a bit like that. Yeah, it feels pretty good. I honestly don't know what I'm going to work on tonight. The alpha playtest draft of the Bastion campaign system that we've been developing. The first draft is done, and I'm already playtesting mechanics at my home table and have been for the past year. So I kind of feel like I'm at a standstill, or rather, I'm at a place where I should be like taking a breath. From the Bastion campaign, and I honestly don't know what I'm going to do with that. I may decide to. Yeah, this needs to be a bit bigger. I may have additional stuff that I can find to work on it. I legit don't know. That feels a little better. I think I want to make this just a bit bigger here. That's probably where this is going to end up at. But I do game design on Mondays and Thursday nights. Tonight's no different. That'll click in around 6 o'clock tonight. It's 6:45 here. It's almost 7 o'clock here in Seattle. So like 11 hours from now, I'll be back on doing game design. Whether we're working on the Bastion campaign or something different, I don't honestly know at this stage what I'm going to be doing. I got a lot of projects that are stacked up that are waiting for attention. Shit, maybe I'll just actually start working on the color mana conversion. That might not be a bad idea. There's also the Spelljammer subclasses that I've been developing to lean into the unique game mechanics that we have for Spelljammer that we put on the DMsGuild. That's linked down below. There's also the idea of combing the book and updating it for 2024. That could be a worthwhile project. Gamma World, what is up? Man, Gamma World was fun as fuck. That feels like the right size. I like that. I'm gonna go with that. And I'm gonna stop carving on the background. Gamma World. God, I loved playing Gamma World. It was so much fun. It was so gonzo. That was the thing that the second edition, was it the third edition? It had the Larry Elmore painting of the Wolverine, the cybernetic Wolverine with the guy in the spacesuit with a laser writing on its back. That was peak Gamma World art. Like if you wanted to express what Gamma World like is in one image, that Larry Elmore painting was captured my fascination and amazement to the Gamma World setting when I was 13 years old. Super cool. But the original like Valley setting where you're like the default starting point for Gamma World, it had a hex crawl that was attached to it. So like the base box set had a leaving your village for adventure hex crawl sort of environment, and depending on what you rolled up as your character would set, you know, this is what your village is like, and you're going out to seek fame, fortune, and opportunity for survival for your, you know, for your home. A little bit of yammer pie there. But it was super fun. Now let's be like that. Thicken that up a bit. Thicken that a bit. Good. Let's paint over that as well. I'm going to take this and drop it down a bit. Nope. I immediately see a flaw in my plan. Let's like that, shall we? Something that-ish feels pretty good. Yeah, it's feeling pretty good. Build a curve in like that. do like this. Let's see. Pretty happy with how that's sitting. I think I want, let's see. Let's add another layer here. Yeah, let's add these in here like that. Gamma World, goddamn, what a fun game. Building some basic anatomy here to have as a breastplate. Nothing too exotic, but nothing overly simple either. We'll fill in the pauldrons here. Yeah, like that. Starting to feel pretty good. Let's see, let's go underneath that. Let's go with this. Okay, so here's our heads, quote unquote, the heads. One, that's a head. Two, that's a head. Three, that's a head. Four, that's a head. We're hitting just above the knees at this point. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is actually a little low. What I'll need to do. Start there. Let's keep pushing our way down though. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. One more moment. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's how many 7 heads should be. But obviously that's going down beneath where the guard's feet are at. So let's take all that. Bring that up to about there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7. And then raise it up a few. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I want us to be somewhere around, these are still too high, so I need to compress these a little bit more. There should be one head basically from the chin down to the chest, like that, and then from the chest to the belt here, and then from the belt to where the thighs kind of sink together at your crotch, and then down to your knees, and then mid calf, and then bottom of the foot, and then there would be spare space at the very, very bottom. But I'm not concerning myself with that at the moment. So this means that the head of this character is actually a little off. It'd be more like, it'd be a little bit more like that. Maybe here. That's about right. So we go to the top of the head there. I'm going to change the hairstyle a little bit, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then their 7.5 would be remnant at the bottom. Yeah, it feels about right. There we go. Okay, that should do. Just checking out my proportions, making sure everybody's sitting pretty. What would I consider to be art? I would say generally anything that somebody produces to I don't know if there needs to be any value attached to it, or I mean, basically it's boy, oh boy, that's a broad topic. I don't know, but I know when I see it. Haha, how about that for a cop-out answer? Yeah, I honestly don't know. I'm supposed to know what the definition of art is, but I don't. I have no idea. Down to here's where the ribs basically stop here, like this. So you can see this little lump that we have over here already for the ribs to hang out. The elbow of the arm is generally going to match where the bottom of the rib cage, like that. Which means I should probably fill that in like that, which means that this belt is also a little thin. That needs to be built out a bit. There, like that. Sorry. Maybe art could be boiled down to anything that we craft or create. Like you create music. Music is art. You create paintings and sculptures. You can create performances, experiences. These are all art. Like DMing is an art. Playing your character is also its own art, separate art. Mapping is an art separate from just page illustration. See how long that elbow is? That's completely wrong. This elbow needs to basically stop here. A little circle in there just to show the joint. Like that. I like that. I see text. Give me a second. I'll catch up. That's my timely timer telling me to keep my time. What's going on, buddy? Thank you, 20-minute timer. Oh, it's reminding me I have coffee. Cheers. And that joke ended up in the museum because someone made a joke out of it. Second of all, form of art. Right. Asking, since there are people out there who think art is anything that's a person expressing ideas, and I find that a bit pretentious. Yeah. That was one of the knee-jerk responses that I had in queue, but I held myself there because I didn't feel it doesn't feel accurate. Because you can express your idea without doing art, and you can create art without specifically trying to express something, right? Like comic page art. Not all of it. Some of it's part of the ensemble of the actual comic book itself. While each panel is also art, it has different structures. Like the story of the comic book is the idea overall, but each individual panel is necessary to be able to sequence from one point to the next inside of that story. And each the comic book itself is art. The story crafted for the comic book is art. Each frame on each page is also art unto itself. As well as the page, that particular panel is on. All of these things are different levels of artwork that are all interacting with each other at the same time in different ways. So it's hard to say like this part of this experience is art and this isn't. Like it's really pretentious is a good word. But I think it's also oversimplifying. Good question, Rel. Making me think this morning, my dude. Put my brain in gear. Cheers. Let's just grab. Do I want to grab that color? Why am I chasing this? I'm sure I have a good reason. Let's do that. They're always coming at me with the good questions. No, you're doing fine. I think I get what you're saying, right? We're communicating here, yeah? Something like that feels decent. 1, 2. It's actually a little short. That feels decent. Put our hand in place here. Right? Hey, there's some text going on. What's up? But the emotion part might be under question since we're back at a simple of the comic book. Right? Yeah, exactly. Make recreation or induce some sort of emotion. Yeah. See that? Yeah. Again, we're potentially attempting to assign lofty goals to what can be a very just mechanical process. And then you start asking, at what point does this become like once manufacturing happens, right? And we're making paper clips. Is making paper clips art? I think something's lost along the way there that takes us out of this isn't art anymore. This is manufacturing. This is production. So there's got to be some sort of sense of intent that goes on inside of that space as well. Not just purely manufacturing, creating something. But I feel creating something is a part of it. Yeah, that feels pretty good. Rough outline of a hand here. Feels okay. I think that's prompting me to up the size here. Maybe this angle isn't what's the problem. Maybe what I need to do is transform, clickety clack there. I probably actually need to do is bend this arm. suddenly making a lot more sense. Yeah, it feels pretty good. I like those proportions. I like how that sits. This is looking good. Good. Maybe like that. I like that. That feels good. Yeah, it feels real good. So is art truly just the process of making something and the end product, but like something new that has some degree of uniqueness? Yeah, no kidding, right? Well, I mean, hey, it was your question. There, and let's do this. Let's just grab that. Let's just grab that. Yeah, we can still get away with this. Let's drop that down like that. There, like that, and then we're going to there we go. Mayhaps too big. Let's merge that down just a smidge. It seems about like the kind of height that I want to have. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, it's a little bit too big. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, that feels better. I think I want to keep the cape. that. Huh. I'm wondering if there's any value of clipping the cape to the elbows, like to the back end elbows of these long gauntlets, so that the cape stays close. Nah, that would end up restricting movement across the chest. Okay, I was just thinking about clipping them there so that it stays behaved, so it can still billow below the hip, but not get up in the face of the person that's wearing it. But I don't think those physics work. Now hooking over the pauldron like this, that makes a lot of sense. It's like it could be, there's back, here's front, like this. Go back up here. So we have our cape like this. So it'll be like this. Yeah, kind of like that. Ah, that's not so bad. It's not so bad. A whole lot of billow going on. I get framing in here like this, but I think I want it to be too broad. Maybe sweep in like that. I'm okay with this being broader over here. I think this needs to sweep in a little bit. I like that back hook here. I also like the idea of this curving through like this. Yeah, right on, Rel. It's good to see you. Yeah, of course, I'll be around. I'm around 9 times per week. For those that don't know, Monday through Friday in the morning like this, I do artwork. Monday, Thursday nights, like tonight, we do game design. And then Tuesdays and Fridays at lunch, we also do game design. So we'll see. Yeah, I'll be around. Have a good time, man. Good. Thanks for swinging by. Oh, this is probably here, Merge. That probably feels better. I mean, it feels better, so it's probably right. That's what I'm trying to say. Thank you, timely timer. Was it 7:20? 7:30. So I've got 20 minutes left on the block. That's cool. This is turning out really nicely, man. I'm really liking this character. Really, really liking how this character is turning out. Should be more like that. That feels pretty good. I mean, this is as far as like a base, as far as like a base model goes. I think this is looking pretty strong. Need to build that out a little bit more. Like, yeah. Feels pretty good. Tie this together here. Opportunity. A little wider stance, I think. A wider base there feels good. Yeah, it feels real good. Bring this in a bit. I do thick thighs. It's just, that's, my characters have thick thighs. That feels pretty good. So we're basically getting the base frame of like the redoing the proportions and making this a little bit more of a dynamic commanding pose, which I think is appropriate for standing over the fire. While everyone else is relaxing, this guy is staying vigilant, you know, on watch. leave those feet cut off like that. But I do want to start layering in thigh guard. Kind of like that. Where are we at? This. Here, that feels good. Just running on a separate track. Good. Merge down here. That feels pretty good. That looks really good. I'm really happy with that. Yeah, I like that. I think I want to pull the character away from the fire a bit, though. It's starting to feel pretty good. Yeah, so far so good. That feels decent. I like that. I like that. Those lines feel good. Breaking into thirds. If here's a third, let's step out of our own paradigm here. So if this is a third, and this is a third, that's about right. Those are about a third. And then we got a third here, and what, like a third here. That's a little off. Bring this up a smidge. Yeah, that's about right. So here's a hot point, here's a hot point, here's a hot point, and here's a hot point. I'm gonna switch different colors here to make those stand out a little bit better. There. So these are my 4 hot points in the piece. If I'm going by the rules of thirds, where I take the composition and I break it up into 1/3. Here's a quadrant. Like here's our connect 4 grid that crosses over. So this is a point, this is a point, this is a point, and this is a point. That's where my 4 hot points are at. You want some of those points active, you want some of those points passive. And ideally you're gonna have one of the low ones and one of the high ones ideally diagonal across from each other. So this should be a hot point here, and it almost is. A little bit of a hot point. It's got an intent gaze that's looking off, and then this dead here is centering on this guy messing around with a stick. So like those are my 4 points. They aren't the most exotic points, which is why this feels like a more passive piece. Well, A, they're standing around a campfire, so that's okay. But where those 4 hot points are at, I'll drop that back in here just for reference sake. The 4 points that are the 4 focal points in the piece all have fairly passive activities happening inside those points. So not only is the overall composition fairly passive with just the implications of camping and resting, but the actual points, the hot points of the piece, are also passive resting points. So I think the composition, like this isn't a boisterous scene of people yucking it up with each other after a hard day of killing monsters or whatever. This is a very subdued piece. Say peace one more time, asshole. Drop those down. That feels really good. Yeah, it feels okay. Locked up. I don't think I like that. I'm gonna take those away. I don't think I like any of that. Let's drop our background a bit again. I'll get s'mores out of the way. There you go, buddy. I was gonna say, I don't think I have a problem with the general thickness of the legs here. I think it's just a matter of structuring them. Yeah, I like how this is turning out. Getting a little heavy down here at the bottom, but that's okay. Yeah, it looks pretty good. I'm really happy with that. That's a good stance. Yeah, I'm going to call this a success overall. That's a good form. It's a good body. Sits nicely. Pull him away from the fire a little bit more. Like that. And then let's... Yeah, not bad. Not bad at all. Pretty good. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and stop. Yeah, it's 7:50. Only got 20 seconds left on my clock. So I'm going to go ahead and cut stream here for the day. We're going to come back tomorrow morning. We'll complete this guard standing here, and then we'll do the tents. And then this piece will probably be done. So cheers to that. I'll be doing page updates tonight to make sure I have the most recent text blocks loaded into the actual document, so we can be sure that all the illustrations and stuff that we've already done are fitting properly. Just doing an overall update since we got all of these post-production edits done. We can update everything. So word salad, blah blah blah. But yeah, that's it for now. So I'll be back on stream tonight in about 10 hours, 6 p.m. Seattle time, which will be 9 p.m. Eastern time. We're gonna jump back on. We'll do some night game design. Not sure exactly what we're gonna work on. We've been working on the Bastion system for the past 50 episodes. So we'll see if we want to continue with the Bastion system, or if I want to dive into like card mechanics, or what I want to play with. We'll play with something. So I will see you guys. I'll see you guys then. If you think today's cool, like, subscribe. I'm here 9 times per week. Check out my books down below, and I'll see you on the other side. Thanks a lot.